Hey everyone, it's Melissa. Thanks for joining me. It is Sunday night, and I have just been getting better from having a migraine. I am getting back to myself, almost there, feeling 100% better. Let me tell you, migraines knock the life out of me. That's what they do. They just knock me right down. So I went to work today. I went in early to have some more time. I'm glad I went in early because I had to leave like an hour early because I had gotten sick. It was so strange. I was like, I watch what I eat, so I had like a baked potato and chicken and broccoli last night. I didn't get to the movies with my son because just it was all booked up. So I was feeling kind of tired last night, so I was kind of glad that I didn't get to the movies. And then it's just hormonal, right? I mean, I still had like ovulation this week, and I'm like, I can feel myself just not, I can feel myself pushing myself when my body is saying, slow down, slow down. So I tend to have a ton of energy too at certain times of the month. So I was just like, I went to work and, I was tired, but I was still good enough to work. And so I'm working in the kitchen and, helping out there. And then I was told I would be training someone. I didn't know it until today. And then I just started going down. My energy levels were going down. And, I trained this girl and told her what to do. And luckily, she had experience in hotel cleaning, so she was fine. But I'm like, just like, I am so sorry. I am not on my game today, I said. And by the time I was on a room, I couldn't even finish my work. I mean, I had taken like a 5 minute break just to have, my Advil, my soda, help me get some caffeine. And I just went boom down. And I couldn't even, I said to somebody, look, I can't even talk. Just leave me alone. I felt awful. So I got home and got a hot shower in, and that usually helps me in a hot bath. And then I fell asleep, got some extra rest, and that really helped. So why I'm talking about this is, ever since I've had kids is when I've had migraines. I didn't have them before. I didn't have them like ever. So I think it's definitely was my period. It wasn't even right away either when I had like my firstborn or my second or my third. I think it started maybe right after the third one. Like I could feel like I don't know, maybe a little bit before my third one. I could feel my periods coming and just feeling like I'm going to get sick. And if I I would have my period, and then with the migraines, if I didn't have quietness, which was really hard when you have a bunch of kids and some, quiet, the lights turned down, the noise has to go. I mean, I would literally throw up. And today, I mean, I haven't felt that way in a while. Today, I was literally going to throw up if I did not rest. So, it's not fun, but I'll tell you something. It makes me very dependent upon God. It makes me turn into like a total baby because I mean there is nothing I can do. I can't even eat. I can't Nothing will agree with me. I can't do anything. And so it just makes me appreciate my health so much better. I am so happy when I feel better. And I was thinking of this when this Uber guy was telling me on the way home today about how he had lived in Ohio. He was just talking, and I did enjoy listening to him. But I wasn't high energy, and he said that, he had had prostate cancer and just kind of what had happened. And it's really, if you have your health, you really have everything. And so, I'm just so thankful that I feel better. I am a very high energy person. Like I like to talk, I like to move a lot. I'm very go go go. So during these times, it's just amazing that God has let me go through this and have to have times of just no, you're not going to do a thing. You are not moving. You are not talking much. You are not doing a thing. You are just going to have to sit there or lay there and rely on me. And even though, like I said, it's not fun, it is something, it's like a thorn in my flesh that I have to deal with in life. And it does help me depend on God more. It just breaks me. And there's a song, I think it's called Beautifully Broken. And, when God, whether it's your sickness or trials in life, whatever they are, the way He breaks you and makes you depend on Him is truly beautiful. Because in our own strength, in our own ways, we don't really act like we need God, right? We're not dependent enough on Him. So that's what I got for now. And then I did want to say something else, um, because I talk about abortion a lot too. Abortion can make or break you. It really can. And when you heal as women, it will just make you stronger. So abortion is something that breaks a lot of women. It just tears them to pieces. They live with guilt. They live with shame. They live with so much garbage. And we want to overcome that too, right? And God certainly had used my abortion to totally break me. When I was pregnant with my firstborn son, and I share my testimony that, I was like, wait a minute, I don't look pregnant. Why is he kicking right now? I really did not understand pregnancy. And someone left a comment today, and I wasn't feeling good enough to deal with it, but now I am. I think it's probably Leandro, not sure. Somebody is on my comments here uh, as somebody else. But anyways, he says, someone says, isn't that basically, I forget the word they use, just basically, isn't that amazing? Like you graduated early from high school and you didn't even know what abortion was. You know what? First of all, I hadn't graduated yet. I was only a sophomore in high school, and nobody talked about it. And what does school have to do with this? School has nothing to do with it. When I was in 8th grade, was it 7th or 8th grade with my husband, we had Mrs. Hill, and she was talking about, sex ed. I can barely remember it. It was brief. I think it might have been for like 2 or 3 days in my whole education. If that, maybe it was one day, but Mrs. Hill, she was extremely embarrassed talking about this. She had some picture on the chalkboard of the sperm and the egg meeting, and that's how you make babies. That's about it. That's about all the education I had on sex, besides my friends. My friends were the ones who talked more. But nobody was talking about abortion. Nobody. I never even heard of that word abortion until I was pregnant. And there was something about, like, my family would talk a lot. Like, I had a big family, and anything they didn't want us to know going on, they would talk quietly, right, behind our back, and just, whisper. So I remember something about, my mom was talking to my aunt, and my aunt said something about abortion, the word abortion. And I didn't know what it was. I just heard it in the background, and from there wasn't even the word abortion. There wasn't even, when my mother came to me, it was not, do you want an abortion? It was just, there was nothing. There was no conversation. It was, do you want me to help you raise the kid or what? It wasn't even, we weren't even talking abortion. I just didn't want her help. I knew that. But, so there was no conversation. And then when you look at the doctor's records, it's like, we removed some tissue. That's not abortion, So the denial is so steep with abortion. I'm telling you, it's just like, how would you know what you don't know? And this person was pretty rude on my channel. You can look at my video. I kept it up to remind me how rude this person is. And to think that a young girl would be dealing with that, know what an abortion is in a small town, a small hick town that was pretty ignorant in a lot of ways. There wasn't even a church around. Well, let me see, there was one church. I went there for like a week to try Girl Scouts. I didn't like it. I didn't think the girls were cool. I was used to the girls in my class. We did cheerleading together. I thought that was cool. Girl Scouts, we sat there. Maybe I tried it twice. And I was brought to a church because it was in that building. I never even was raised up in church. And it was so boring. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't even remember what they were talking about. Maybe it was cookies or something, and I wasn't into cooking. So it was not my thing, and I knew it, and I'm glad I didn't do it. But yeah, so there's no way I would have known. Small town that doesn't talk really much about things. Um, no way. So this person wanted to get on here and try, and I say try to put me down and try to bring up something they thought that they could use against me. So, yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And this is why I have such a heart for the younger girls, because I know what it's like. I know how it is, and then you grow up and you become a woman and you become a mother, and you're like, holy cow, what the heck was that, you know? So, I'm one very fortunate one who has healed a lot. And even as I work in these circles, and I'll start tomorrow, I have the day off tomorrow, thank goodness. Um, I will be talking about abortion with the and more information from the pregnancy centers, like what do you do with a girl who's been raped? What kind of counsel do you have? What do you do with, this and that? And again, I cannot stress enough how much work we have to do. And it's still not enough for a girl just to be like, okay, I'm not having an abortion. I will keep my child. It's still not enough to be like, we help you up until age 3 or age 5. Still not enough. Mothers need help all the way up, especially abortion minded women, because I think they need help with parenting. And I know after I had mine, I just happened to fall into the right group of people in church. So we really want to bring girls into the church. And one of the places I had talked to said that they are under a church, even though they had to protect themselves with insurance, with a 501k and liability and stuff, and they are so connected to the youth, and I love that. But we still need women in the churches. I had the MOPS classes, the parenting classes, the teen parenting. I had it all the way up. And I had help with camp for my kids, CAP, encampment. I mean, one thing after another. And I'll tell you, I am so thankful that I did not raise my kids by myself. I didn't. I had tons of help, and I took it. I was humble enough to say, hey, I would go into church and ask women. I'd be in Bible studies and be like, how do you do this and how do you do that, and what do you do if what do you do with this? And it's that kind of intense daily, sometimes daily. I had a mentor walk with me like almost every day, almost daily, if not weekly, kind of support around you on top of, your family, to be like, hey, what do you think about this and that? And unless a girl gets that, she's not going to be able to turn her life around. And not that mine was that bad at all. I had a great childhood, even with, family from the projects and everything. I still had a great childhood. But the girls who don't have that, they are very abortion minded. They come from the projects. They are, they have nobody. You want an intense, community around them. Like, how is this going? How's that going? And what about this? And how are you feeling about that? And it's the only way we're going to solve this, I think, is with a huge community. And I went to church for years, and I didn't mention the abortion because why would I? I mean, it's not like people talked about it. So it's only been like the last 7 years we have been talking about it. And even then, about 7 years ago when I was in one church, I had stood up and shared about the abortion, and I got a look like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't talk about abortion here. So, we got to break through and talk about abortion with churches, school curriculum, society, everywhere. And I really do want to see this beat in my time, and I think it will happen. I think we are doing We are doing a lot. We're doing a great job, but we need to do more. And I want to see abortion eradicated completely. It's unthinkable. It's unthinkable to think about what my baby and other women's babies have gone through. I cannot imagine, a baby being torn to pieces. I just cannot imagine it. And it's so bad that mothers can't even be like, that was my baby torn apart in front of me. That's how bad it is. So they have to just, and I don't even think they're trying. I think it's just the mind cannot take it. It's just, no, it was just tissue, or no, it was just, it was just this. That is how bad it is. So I did feel a lot of love. I want to say that. One of the girls I was listening to said that she felt a lot of love after her abortion. She had, her friends sending her flowers, and she had to rest for like 3 days in bed because she was bleeding, and they sent her, flowers and cards and everything. I did not have that, but I had a couple people that I did, mention it, and even though I didn't think it was a big deal at the time, because I didn't know what I didn't know again, I did have a couple people say, I'm so sorry to hear that. Are you okay? So we do want to come along, women, I think, in that way, because know, they don't know what just happened sometimes. They're just like, they just still think it's just tissue or whatever. So we want to make sure the woman has really good care. And like I said, I had a ton of care in church. I mean, a lot of care, and it was the love of Christ that brought me to church, because I thought people were so nice, and, it was that love that turned me around to want to know Christ more, and I got saved in my lowest time of my low. And if I did not have that as a woman, and I was out there and didn't have my faith and the love of Christ, how would I have dealt with that? I mean, I don't think I would have even gone to church if I knew what I knew before I had gotten saved. What would that have looked like if I had shared abortion in church without being grounded and rooted in Christ? I think I wouldn't have shared that if I wasn't rooted in Christ first. So I'm so glad that my faith is strong enough that I can talk about it, and I don't really care what people think. And there's so many women who can't even talk about it because they feel they're going to be judged constantly. And so we want to open the door in churches to talk about abortion, to talk about, just helping women to feel the love of Christ and to know that they are loved and cared for. And if we can do this beforehand too, to let women know how much they are loved and cared for, I think that's going to make a huge difference with women not getting in situations with bad guys, bad boyfriends who just use them. So it is what it is. A lot of girls don't come from the perfect home. They just don't. They have, or if they do have a good home, they're out there and they're dating and they're trying to figure life out on their own. And they're just, the time I was dating Mike after Randy, there was no going back. There was no way people were going to tell me who to date and who not to date. My parents were not going to control that after I had already been dating on my own. That was my choice, and I chose to date who I wanted. So you can't, once that door is open, you can't really reel someone back in and say you can't talk to them on the phone like my parents did, or you can't see this guy. And it's like, no, I'm already dating with, I've already had a life without you. I've already been with my peers. I've already, you weren't there. So to think you're going to be there now after, it doesn't make sense, right? Because when your family is not there for you with your first boyfriend, and they let go, you're not going to be controlling who they are with after. So, yeah, so that's what I got. And then, I was smart enough on my own to break up with the guy, and it had to be a friend because we were all in the friend circles. It couldn't be my parents. I was dating this guy because I was in a group, not a gang, but like a group of my friends, not only with my first boyfriend, but I was in a group of friends with my second boyfriend. And it took one of my friends, to have something happen for me to be like, I'm ditching him, you know, just like that. And so that's what I did. And I had no regret. And I was smart enough to be like, nope, not dating him. So, and then from there, like I said, I dated my husband. And then he was up and down as he still is. Before I even left for Colorado, he was like, I don't know if I want to stay married. And I'm like, you need to make up your mind. And he's like, I don't know. So he definitely did not want to be married even before I went to Colorado. And he would say things like, when I got here, he'd be like, where were you? I couldn't get a hold of you. And I'm like, hey, we were traveling through a tornado. I didn't even have service. And he's like, I was worried about you. So, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. So, um, just a lot of stuff. So, anyways, it was after when I dated my husband that he broke up with me, and it was so discouraging that I just did not care anymore and dated, a couple other guys. And, you don't want those relationship breaks, because when that happens, you're just going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. So, yeah, that's what I got for now, guys. Abortion was not talked about years ago. So, no, whether you graduate school or not, if the high school wasn't teaching about abortion either, and they didn't really have much for sex ed. I don't think I ever heard about sex ed in high school. I don't think I did. No, we talked about physical education. We had a kooky teacher, Mr. Wallace, who was a joke. And this is where high school comes in, and if you can't relate to your teachers, you're not going to learn. We had Mr. Pottis, and he had a bow tie. This, like, really weird. He looked like, I don't know, he was just weird. He had his hair parted to the side. We had my Mexican teacher who would come in with a hat, and she was just strange. And so unless you could take your teachers seriously and respect them, you really couldn't learn from them. And so I just had my group of friends in high school too, where, it was all a joke. High school was a joke. So, yeah. So I did graduate early, but there was no talk about abortion. So that's what I got for now, guys. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I am so thankful. I thank God that I feel better. Honestly, I do.